Hi everybody, my name is Inga Cotton and I'm really honored to be the storyteller tonight in the MindshiftED group. And so we're in my backyard, as you can see my daughter is on the swings. My son is, oh she says hi, okay. My son, he's getting ready, so the landscapers came today. I'm really thankful for them. They mowed the grass and then we got the pool set up again. So unfortunately, our neighborhood pool, I don't know when they're going to open. So we're just counting on the above ground pool to get us through the summer. Oh, good dismount there. Okay. So I've got my comfy chair. I've got my barbacoa. It says tacos on my shirt. So, oh, just says thank you. Yeah, Joe, it's my pleasure. I'm really happy to do this, and I hope that maybe more members of I'll share this in the SA Charter Moms group, or so if anybody who's watching is also a member of SA Charter Moms, please share in the group, and maybe there's some more SA Charter Moms members who could be storytellers in the future. That would be really cool. So. It's fun, I can hear other backyards, there's fun stuff happening too, so this is like, these are strange times, but then there's like parts of it that are actually kind of okay, right?
That's
like,
what happens when you have friendly neighbors, they party in their backyard.
It's true, yeah, we have neighbors partying in their backyards too, so, okay, so.
Above ground pool that makes the party even amazinger, yes.
Yes, that's true, the above ground pool does make it amazinger. Oh, Lori says hi, hello Lori. So, okay, so I'll probably, I won't actually read the story until we get a few more people online, because I think I'm maybe just a little bit early, but I couldn't resist going ahead online. I have my tripod set up, and like I said, my chair.
Story, you're going to see some kids in the background partying.
Yeah, this is going to be, I just thought it was more fun that way, with like kids in the background, and not just, so I do videos at 9 a.m. on weekdays on the page for SA Charter Moms. We call them Charter Moms Chats, and those are, oh, okay. Hey, Nicholas, can you show them your red ball? Okay. Well, can you see it on the camera? Whoa, that is a big red ball. Okay, good job, man. But usually when I do those videos indoors, and then my kids go outside, I think we call it recess, right? So they'll do some of their work, and then I do my video, they do recess, and then they come back inside. So, but I usually have like a Texas map in the background. That's my indoor backdrop until we like get a green screen and get fancy, right? Or like Joe is trying to show me how to change my Zoom background. So, but actually my daughter knows more about Zoom than I do from all of her synchronous online classes. So she's gonna, oh hey, Becca's online, hey! So Becca is our group moderator in SA Charter Moms group, and she's been sharing some really, really helpful links. We've been talking about like, what is school gonna be like in the fall when it opens back up? And if you haven't already, please be sure and take the poll that Joe and Maribel have been sharing. It's for the Powerful Parent Network, and they're asking parents what they're most concerned about. And like what schools need to do to make sure that kids are caught up, right? And that, if they're having like a spring slide and a summer slide, how do we make things better? So be sure and take the survey. I think it was shared in the group today, right? We'll see. Okay. So the story that I'm going to read, can you see that? So Winnie the Pooh. I love Winnie the Pooh. I love the characters. I think at different times in my life I've been different characters. I think I used to be Owl. Because like Owl is like the know-it-all. He's always full of everything. But then you learn, and then there were a time when I was Eeyore, when like just like the world seemed kind of like, yeah, but the cure to being Eeyore is having friends who look out for you. So I am going to, okay, so this is a pretty long book, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I decided I would read chapter 4. And it has illustrations. They're kind of black and white. Let me hold this up. Okay, so chapter 4 is, oh, the mosquitoes. I didn't put bug spray there. My legs are covered in bug spray, the picarid and stuff, but okay. So, chapter 4, in which Eeyore loses a tail and Pooh finds one. Oh, and Joe just dropped the link to the survey, so definitely take the survey, and we want San Antonio to show up for the survey, guys, okay? Okay, so what I like about this chapter, the main characters, it's Winnie the Pooh, obviously, right, who's a very lovable character. He admits that he is a bear of little brain, but he has such a good heart, you know. So he gets the right solution, and he's got friends looking out for him, right? Like Christopher Robin and Piglet and Rabbit and stuff. And then Eeyore is he's depressed, he's melancholy, and he always feels like things are being done to him, and sometimes they are, right? Okay, so here we go. The old gray donkey, Eeyore, stood by himself in a thistly corner of the forest, his front feet well apart, his head on one side, and thought about things. Sometimes he thought sadly to himself, why? And sometimes he thought, wherefore? And sometimes he thought, inasmuch as which? And sometimes he didn't quite know what he was thinking about. So when Winnie the Pooh came stumping along, Eeyore was very glad to be able to stop thinking for a while in order to say, how do you do? In a gloomy manner to him. And how are you? Said Winnie the Pooh. Eeyore shook his head from side to side. Not very how, he said. I don't seem to have felt at all how for a long time. Dear, dear, said Pooh, I'm sorry about that. Let's have a look at you. So Eeyore stood there, gazed sadly at the ground, and Winnie the Pooh walked all around him once. Why, what's happened to your tail? So here we go. Look at that butt, no tail. So, what do we got? What has happened to it? Said Eeyore. It isn't there. Are you sure? See, Eeyore, he's kind of turn around. You know, it's kind of hard to see one's own butt, though, right? Considering you need friends to help you out. Okay. Well, either a tail is there or isn't there. You can't make a mistake about it. Yours isn't there. Oh, that was Pooh. Then what is? Nothing. Let's have a look, said Eeyore. And he turned slowly around to the place where his tail had been a little while ago. And then finding he couldn't catch it up, he turned around the other way until he came back to where he was at first. Then he put his head down and looked between his front legs, and last he said with a long, sad sigh, I believe you're right. Of course I'm right, said Pooh. That accounts for a good deal, said Eeyore gloomily. It explains everything. No wonder. Oh yeah, so I'd like to point out that there are a lot of capital letters here. Show how seriously bummed Eeyore is. You must have left it somewhere, said Winnie the Pooh. Someone must have taken it, said Eeyore. How like them. Ooh, he's mad. Okay. Pooh felt that he ought to say something helpful about it, but he didn't quite know what. So he decided to do something helpful instead. Eeyore, he said solemnly, I, Winnie the Pooh, will find your tail for you. So, meanwhile, see, Eeyore, he's still looking for his tail. He's trying. It's not there. Okay. Thank you, Pooh, answered Eeyore. You're a real friend. Not like some, he said. So Winnie the Pooh went off to find Eeyore's tail. It was a fine spring morning in the forest as he started out. Little soft clouds played happily in a blue sky, skipping from time to time in front of the sun, as if they had come to put it out and then sliding away suddenly so the next might have his turn. Through them and between them the sun shone bravely, and a copse which had worn its furs all the year round seemed old and dowdy now beside the new green lace which the beeches had put on so prettily. Through copse and spinney marched Bear, down open slopes of gorse and heather, over rocky beds of streams, up steep banks of sandstone into the heather again, and so at last, tired and hungry, to the 100-acre wood. For it was in the 100-acre wood that Owl lived. And if anyone knows anything about anything, said Bear to himself, it's Owl who knows something about something. He said, or my name's not Winnie the Pooh, he said, which it is. So there you are. Owl lived at the Chestnuts, an old world residence of great charm, which was grander than anybody else's, or seemed so to Bear, because it had both a knocker and a bell pull. Underneath the knocker there was a notice which said, please ring if an answer is required. Underneath the bell pull there was a notice which said, please knock if an answer is not required. Okay, wait, I just realized that the sign about ringing is next to the knocker, and the sign about ringing the bell is... Alright, they're backwards. That's funny. Okay, I just realized that. How many times have I read this before? Anyway, here is a picture of Owl's house. Pretty fancy, right? Okay. These notices had been written by Christopher Robin, he's a young boy. Right, okay. Who was the only one in the forest who could spell. For Owl, wise though he was in many ways, able to read and write and spell his own name, well, this is how he spells it. Like wall, W-O-L, wall. Yet somehow went all to pieces over delicate words like measles and buttered toast. See, everything is pandemic related, right? Okay. Oh, so my son, he's stimming because he really loves being on the swing. There you can see him. Woo! Okay. Okay. Winnie the Pooh read the two notices very carefully, first from left to right and afterwards, in case he had missed some of it from right to left. Then, to make quite sure, he knocked and pulled the knocker, and he pulled and knocked the bell rope. And he called out in a very loud voice, "Owl! I require an answer! It's Bear speaking!" And the door opened, and the owl looked out. "Hello, Pooh," he said. "How's things?" "Terrible and sad," said Pooh, "because Eeyore, who is a friend of mine, has lost his tail. And he's moping about it. So could you very kindly tell me how to find it for him?" "Well," said the owl, "the customary procedure in the case is as follows." "What does crustimony proceed cake mean?" said Pooh, "for I am a bear of very little brain, and long words bother me." And then Owl says, "It means the thing to do." "As long as it means that, I don't mind," said Pooh humbly. "The thing to do is as follows. First, issue a reward. Then, just a moment," said Pooh, holding up his paw. "What do we do to this? What you were saying, you sneezed, just as you were going to tell me." I didn't sneeze." "Yes, you did, Owl." "Excuse me, Pooh, I didn't." "You can't sneeze without knowing it." "Well, you can't know it without something having been sneezed." "What I said was, first, issue a reward." "You're doing it again," said Pooh sadly. "A reward," said Owl very loudly. "We write a notice to say that we will give a large something to anybody who finds Eeyore's tail." I see, said Pooh, nodding his head. "Talking about large somethings," he went on dreamily. "I generally have a small something about now, about this time in the morning." And he looked wistfully at the cupboard in the corner of Owl's parlor. "Just a mouthful of condensed milk or whatnot, with perhaps a lick of honey." Well then, said Owl. "We write out this notice, and we put it up all over the forest." "A lick of honey," murmured Bear to himself, or not, as the case may be. And he gave a deep sigh, and tried very hard to listen to what Owl was saying. But Owl went on and on, using longer and longer words, until at last he came back to where he started, and he explained that the person to write out this notice was Christopher Robin. "It was he who wrote the ones on my front door for me. Did you see them, Pooh?" For some time now, Pooh had been saying yes and no, in turn, with his eyes shut, to all that Owl was saying, and having said yes, last time, he said no, not at all now, without really knowing what Owl was talking about. So here's Pooh. Owl's talking. Pooh is nodding and shaking his head and kind of dozing off. So, "Didn't you see them?" said Owl, a little surprised. "Come and look at them now." So they went outside, and Pooh looked at the knocker and the notice below it, and he looked at the bell rope and the notice below it. And the more he looked at the bell rope, the more he felt that he had seen something like it somewhere else, sometime before. "Handsome bell rope, isn't it?" said Owl. Pooh nodded. Oh. Something happening in the pool. So far, so good. Okay. Pooh nodded. It reminds me of something," he said, "but I can't think what. Where did you get it?" So here is Owl and Pooh Bear, and they're at the front door of Owl's house, and they're looking at this, they're reading the signs, and they're studying the bell rope. So, what does that bell rope look like? Do you recognize it from somewhere? Interesting. Okay. So Owl says, "I just came across it in the forest. It was hanging over a bush, and I thought at first somebody lived there, so I rang it, and nothing happened. And then I rang it again very loudly, and it came off in my hand. And as nobody seemed to want it, I took it home, and..." "Owl," said Pooh solemnly, You made a mistake. Somebody did want it. Who? That's funny, an owl saying who. Okay. Eeyore, my dear friend Eeyore. He was fond of it. Fond of it? Attached to it, Winnie the Pooh said sadly. So with these words, he unhooked it and carried it back to Eeyore. And when Christopher Robin had nailed it on in its right place again, Eeyore frisked about the forest, waving his tail so happily that Winnie the Pooh came over all funny and had to hurry home for a little snack of something to sustain him. And wiping his mouth half an hour afterwards, he sang to himself proudly, "Who found the tail?" "I," said Pooh, at 11:45. Only it was 11:15, really. "I found the tail." Uh-oh, mosquito. Got it. Okay. So, here is a picture of Christopher Robin putting the tail back on Eeyore as well Pooh watches. And then here are some pictures of Eeyore so happy with his tail. He is frolicking around. Look at that. Look how happy he is. He has his tail. Okay, all right. So that is chapter 4. Okay, so this would be the part where, like, if I was reading this with my kids, I would be asking them questions about it. We'd do our little seminar. But I mean, the reason I picked this today is, you know, Eeyore, he's talking about, like, you know, what does it mean to be a friend, right? And you know, people who take things that don't belong to them, that's not being a friend, right? But Pooh saying, "I will help you. I am going to find your tail," and all the challenges he had while he was trying to find that tail. But that, I feel like in these times, we need to be friends like Pooh. We need to be friends who say, "Whatever, tell me what you need, I will find it for you," right? So, like, there are people in this group who are fighting for more digital access for students, right? Because we can't let students get left behind, right? So if they need devices, if they need Wi-Fi, you know, we need to come together and solve this problem. So if that means, like, signing a petition or, you know, writing a letter, well, I mean, we can't, like, go to many meetings, but anyway, you know, like, this is a time when we need to count on each other and we need to be friends, right? So let's get Eeyore his tail. Let's get those students some devices so they can get on the internet and do their schoolwork and keep learning in the summer. So, and then seeing, you know, Eeyore, who's known as for being kind of melancholy, but once he had his tail, he was happy and frolicking and oh so grateful to his friend, right? So that to me is the lesson of chapter 4 of Winnie the Pooh is, you know, it's not about the big words, it's not about the spelling, it's not about having a fancy house. It's about being a friend who says, "Tell me what you need. I will get it for you." Okay? So that is the takeaway. So thanks for listening, and be sure and sign the petition. And if any of, like, my friends or SH Hormones members want to be storytellers, then reach out to Janet Garcia, okay? All right, thanks, y'all. Oh, you get to say goodbye. Oh, hey, Annika, you want to wave goodbye? Can you wave? My daughter's waving goodbye from the pool. All right, thanks, y'all. Bye.